I'm Sonia Azad. Welcome to The Shift, a place to inspire growth, resilience, and wisdom, real connection, healthy conversation as we navigate life's changes and challenges together. Because, as I like to say, we are all each other's teachers.
Thanks to our friends at the Vineyard at Florence for making this podcast possible. Hair and makeup generously provided by Glam House Collective.
Hi, I'm Sonia Azad. Welcome to The Shift. We're at Dallas Irby today, and I'm with my dear friend Sarah Shelby. Good to see you.
Thank you, Sonia, for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy to see you and to be talking about this alternative healing modality sound. So you say that you're a practitioner of sound therapy.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, basically, I use this modality to bring deep states of rest and relaxation to the mind and to the body. So you can think about it as like a massage for the internal body, massages all of the muscle tissues, working itself down to all of the fluids in our body, down to the cellular level, and also relaxes the brain. So brings it into like a state of balance where we can get that monkey mind, so to speak, the chitty chatty we hear, to take a back seat and kind of access the state I like to call like the in-between, where you're present with what's going on and you're feeling everything, but you're also, your brain's having a little bit of rest. You're checked out a little bit and you can really receive the relaxation and the rest that your body needs to heal.
And, you know, I feel like sound bath is very popular these days.
Yeah.
So everybody and their mama just like kind of banging on bowls.
Yeah.
I have done some sound training. You have been doing this for a long time. What is the difference between what you do and just a teacher who's giving a sound bath at like a studio?
Yeah, so a little different. Sound bath is a very therapeutic experience in its own right. So everyone has different styles and different approaches for that. But in my mind, when I think about that, I think of like a group setting, like a meditation studio, maybe perhaps at the end of yoga. Someone will bring some bowls out and kind of lull you to that gentle, sleepy, wind down state. Which is great. It's a great therapy.
It's great.
Right?
Yeah.
Because those vibrations are traveling through everything all the time. So even though you might not have a bowl directly on your body or right next to you, you're still getting those beneficial effects. So I think of that as sound therapy in a group setting, but really any sound can be therapeutic. So some people like to sit out in nature and just listen to the birds, or maybe you're by the beach. I even know some artists that go around cities and sample sounds of what's going on in the city and kind of catching that frequency and that vibe of like what's happening right there and putting that into tracks with music. So what I do is a little different, and I engage my clients on a one-on-one basis. So I have a massage therapy background and got licensed in 2001. And so I have that just to kind of anchor me through. And so with my knowledge of body work and body systems, this was a wonderful complement that came into my life. And so I use this as a complement to massage that I'm already doing, and sometimes it's its own standalone service. But I use these bowls on and around the body, and so you're receiving the vibration literally on your body and around, so it's an immersive sound, full body, deep listening experience.
And if you haven't experienced it, it is amazing.
It really is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's really cool to get into a state where you know where you are, you're safe and you're comfortable and you're relaxed. Everything is just vibing perfectly, and then you have a moment that you check out or you go somewhere else, maybe a little dreamlike state or something. And it's wonderful just to have that little kind of break in our active alpha brain, always thinking mindset. So it's a really nice respite for especially what's going on in the world today.
Which is,
very accessible.
there's always something
going
on.
everybody's heightened and stressed out about everything.
Yeah.
So this is a nice way to relax the nervous system and calm, bring some sense of stillness into somebody's daily life, and yeah, it's a wonderful tool.
What I found cool about having bowls on your body is you don't always feel the vibration where the bowl is.
Totally. Great awareness for that too.
Yeah, you're
That's a
like,
good way to
why am I
explain
feeling
it.
this in my foot or in my head or in my
That's
whatever?
right.
Like this bowl is on my stomach.
That's
you know,
right.
like how's this working?
Because the vibration's going all through the body. So it goes where it needs to go, essentially. And
what does that mean when you say that?
where it goes where it needs to go.
Yeah.
So like what you said, I'm hearing it, I'm feeling, I know she has a bowl on my chest here, but I'm feeling it in the body. Well, perhaps there's a little bit of resistance. Or if you think about it in like Eastern terminology, if you've ever been to acupuncture, they access the meridian lines, those energetic channels, those pathways in our body. And so essentially, I'm able to access that in a broader way. And so that might transfer down a specific line in your body to maybe organ, right? I mean, it kind of also dovetails with reflexology. So if you're familiar with the way the organs are laid out on our feet and our hands, you might find that there's actually something physical going on with that area, or perhaps there's an old injury there and it goes there because there's scar tissue built up. And so it knows intuitively that it needs a little bit more support down there. So we can have blocked emotions, we can have blocked physical traumas, and sometimes that can stop the sound immediately and almost sound flat, but you might still feel it vibrating. And also sometimes you could, like you described, feel that vibration going somewhere completely different in the body. Yeah.
Now for you, as you're playing and as you're offering, right? What do you do if the sound goes flat or something like that?
That's always really interesting to me. I'm always curious.
Because you don't know what's going to happen.
No, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, everyone shows up differently.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But it isn't intuitive in the sense that, like, I am just a practitioner, so I just take myself out of it, and I'm working with your energetic field, your body, and I'm using that to kind of help me determine maybe what's going on. So it might even access a spot for some self-inquiry, or we could get in a little bit deeper on like pain management, areas that are corresponded to that spot that we're talking about. But yeah.
Where are we in terms of science around sound healing or the healing nature of sound?
Yeah, I think there's a lot being, I'd hesitate to say we're on the forefront because I feel like we've broken past that. I just think it's so much more accessible. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming out around vibroacoustic therapy, which I don't know if you know about that, but it is basically felt low tone frequencies that are emitted and sent through like a table or a chair. And so you can relax on a massage table or in a reclining chair, and you literally are feeling these low frequencies. So it's amped up compared to the bowls. This is very gentle, but it can still be profound. A vibroacoustic treatment is going to be like your whole body is kind of vibrating.
I have done that. Now that you say what it is, I have done that in a Sedona at a yoga festival where I was, it was like an all intense, immersive experience.
Yes. And so that is like amped up. I kind of feel like I'm almost a little bit more manual where I am controlling that. What I like about the vibroacoustic therapy though is you can pair that with frequency and music. So you could have the client listen through ear pods or even just sound equipment through the table. And so they're feeling what they're hearing at the same time.
Yeah, like thunderstorm.
Oh yeah, and they're literally feeling like the rumble of that, right?
Yeah.
And so that activation in the body with the muscle tissues and just the movement that it creates can bring up things to the surface that we're ready to work on. Sometimes it can be emotional. I mean, even with massage, you can have emotional releases. And so that could be something part of the journey that you're on when you're getting a therapy like this.
Now that you're saying this, I'm like having flashbacks right now. Because I've done it more than once.
Okay.
And the second time was a very crisp, like visualizations, colors, and like, I don't know if it was memories or if it was just stuff that I'm thinking about in the back of my head. And I was like, I ended the session, sat up and was like,
oh yeah,
I either need to write some of this stuff down or like, where is this coming from?
Yeah,
Wow.
for sure. When I had my first session with that, it was almost disorienting a little bit at first because we were so jostled. These are so gentle. And that is just amped up and it's relaxing. You feel like you're getting a whole body like vibration massage. But then when you sit up out of it, it's like, whoa, you're literally coming back into a world full of sensations and loud noises, and it can be kind of overwhelming sometimes.
Very overwhelming.
Especially in a situation where like we're at a fair, right?
Yes.
There's lots of stuff going on and you're like, whoa.
Well, and I find that anytime I take myself out of the everyday, you know, rat race, whether it's a yoga retreat or a meditation class or a sound bath or whatever, when you remove yourself from all of the sensory overload and then go back into it, that re-entry is like, it's a lot.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Probably even like with your retreats, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, you're zoned in, you're in one particular mind frame, certain goal, and the intention set for that kind of feeling and that vibration. Yeah. And then you get pulled out of it and it's like, but these are such a nice tool to help kind of soften that.
That's what I was going to say. And it's so subtle. It's like if you're a sensation seeker, you know, there are different, like maybe what you're talking about, bowls on the body might be a better, I don't know, there's, you know, thing for you to try. But it's so subtle. And I don't know, I love sound because it reminds you of all the stuff that's like going on inside that you don't see outside.
Totally.
Is that a good way to explain it?
For sure. And I think like one of the really cool aspects of like even being in a group situation where you're listening and you may not actually feel those vibrations happening is that you do access that little bit of stillness, and so you begin to hear things. It's like it's listening on a deeper level, right? And so you can start to hear things shifting in your body, as weird as that sounds. Gurgling, bubbles moving, tissues fizzing. I mean, all kinds of things that we normally just are not quiet or still enough to hear in our everyday.
Yeah. Well, something that you taught me a long time ago is you said, remember, we don't just hear sound from the ears. Sound penetrates our whole body.
That's right.
And so when you think of it like that, you're like, oh, I'm constantly absorbing even the most subtle sounds around me.
Absolutely.
And then what do you want to stay in there versus move out?
Oh yeah, that's right. And then that transfers out to like so many different things. It can even go into like people and have voices, how certain people sound, or it's amazing what you'll start to think about and connections you start to make with things that either bring you to a state of elevated happiness or can kind of trigger you maybe to the opposite direction. So it's definitely I think a lesson for myself and learning like what tolerances are and then giving myself grace and everybody else grace too, because we don't always like the same thing, you know?
Okay, like, can we play a little bit?
So, okay,
what did
I
you
brought
bring?
this big bowl here, and this is one of the bowls that I would use in a therapeutic setting with my clients. So you're laying on a massage table, fully clothed, and this is one of the bowls that I use. It's one of my main bowls. So this particular bowl is engineered to hold the vibration over the sound. The sound's gonna sound amazing and you're gonna hear it penetrating through the ears, no doubt. But this bowl, and I'll have you hold it and feel it so you can feel the vibration. And then we'll compare it to this bowl, which the vibration is, it exists, you can feel it, but it's much shorter lived. Okay. So this one, just how it sounds is lower. Kind of comes out, keeps radiating, and you hear it, but what you're not seeing is the vibration of the bowl that's continuing to vibrate as the sound goes further and further out. So if you were to hold this bowl, and let's hold it, start with your non-dominant hand, and it's heavy, so make sure you have that, and then with your right hand, your dominant hand, you can strike the bowl, okay? And so just give it a nice strike. Yeah, do it, you're doing it. A little harder. You're so soft. Yeah, so feel the vibration in the hand. Okay, and so you can control with just even your pressure on your strike there, how you want and what your intention is. It goes back to intention with everything. So what's the goal for our session? What kind of intention are we trying to bring about? And so here might be one a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Right? And so sometimes we might get on an area where I hear this tone, and because I've been working with these bowls for quite some time, I have a feeling for what they're going to sound like, what they normally sound like, and what they sound like when they meet some resistance in the body, or maybe an area that has scar tissue, or it's a painful area.
What did you hear just now?
Still going.
I know.
Well, it sounds really good. It's very nice and clear here, actually. Now it's very
perfect.
It's very clear.
I felt that, by the way, like all the way into my other arm.
Yes, yes. So it doesn't take much. It's very subtle, but it causes us to just slow down a little bit, you know, especially those that have the minds that like to follow around, like mine. When I'm getting a service or a treatment like this, at the beginning, my brain would say, oh, I love all of this. What is she doing? How can I figure this out? And then I get to a point where was I thinking about something? I think I was thinking about something, but I don't know what it was. And so that little space in between is what my goal is, to just extend it, make it a little longer, so that we can really get to that space where we're not thinking so much and we're feeling.
Just feeling that.
Yeah. Where does it feel in the body?
And what's the material of
So
these?
it's a bell material, and which is 7-8 different metals, mostly tin is made up of tin. You'll find some of the ancient older bowls. This guy here is from 18th century, so he's one of my oldest bowls. Now, for comparison, you felt the vibration in that, and we heard the sound. Okay, so this one.
So same non-dominant hand?
Yeah, we'll do non-dominant hand. We'll
and
start
why do you do that?
Just because your dominant hand is going to be the striker.
Oh, the striker,
so you have more control over like actually striking the bowl.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay, so this one is a little different.
A lot different.
A lot different. Metal composition might be slightly different too, because this came from like 18th century. I'm not sure exactly what all the metals they were using. It's mostly tin though. And it has a different kind of sound. Also, the shape of the bowl will dictate sound and how that vibrates outward. Okay, so now take it with your hand. This is a lighter bowl, so you won't have to use so much muscle there.
I won't be so deferential this time.
No.
Don't be afraid to strike it, Sonia.
Yeah.
No, I need to.
And you can hit it again if you want. Yeah. Okay, so compared to this big bowl, what's the vibration feel like?
It's different. I mean, it's just different. It almost feels more shallow. It like the other one felt like it was in my bones. This one feels like it's in my tissue or in my skin.
Right, like a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
They're different notes too. So that's always kind of different. Some of us have particular notes that we really gravitate towards, or so that can also help you decide on what bowl do I like. Or also interesting, if there's sounds you have aversions to, it's not always a bad thing, right? So bringing in something that kind of is some dissonant energy to where everything else is just so resonant can also help. Just moving states of perception that you're currently in to waking up maybe the mind, or if I'm trying to not keep you asleep all day, I might bring in something like this smaller bowl, which has a much higher tone. You know, so this would be a good one too. I like to use this one as a signal to like we're starting and we're ending the session with this. So it kind of gets you into a little bit of an entrainment where, you know, okay, so we're starting, let's get quiet, start our breathing and kind of relax into it. And then I can use this, it's gentle and subtle, but brighter in a sense to kind of bring you out of that like trance-like sleep you might have been in for a little while.
Yeah.
And so it also has the vibration, but again, because it's smaller, you'll feel it a little bit, but you really hear it and you'll feel it all over your body.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like an alarm clock. Like I want that to be my alarm clock, not like
I know, right? That's so true.
Like imagine waking up to this.
You should try that. I bet there's a ringtone or something you could put on there. But
barely use an alarm clock these days. It's great.
Yeah. That's
okay,
wonderful.
so chimes. People love chimes.
They do. Me being one.
I love them
love
too,
them.
and I think it's just because it reminds me of like wind and birds and I don't know movement.
Yeah.
Just nature.
Nature. That's what I think of too. It's very calming. It's gentle, and it is a sound from my childhood. So I feel like too that might be why people resonate with it. You know, it just just sitting out in the garden or you know playing outside. Mom and Dad would have these going, or even my grandparents would have them, and. So yeah, this is a wonderful way too, just to bring in a little bit of a shift with the relaxation mode we're doing. Whether it's massage, whether it's a sound bath, you could wake people up instead of using the bowl.
Yeah.
You know, just introducing a little bit of flow, something different than you've been experiencing.
And all of this is so gentle, right? I feel like when we think of sound, like we think of, you know, music blasting, or like I mentioned, an alarm clock, but like this kind of like gentle vibe is so nice.
Oh, very.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think in a time when everything is so amped up,
Yeah.
to be met with something softer and to still feel the profound effects of that is really powerful. And I think we could all use a little bit more softness.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
So I know. So I think if you get a chime, great. You have a bowl, wonderful.
Yeah.
Anything could be a sound tool though.
Yeah. And what are these are tuning forks you have?
So these are tuning forks, and I brought these guys just to kind of show you. This was my introduction to sound therapy. I was at a health fair years ago, and I came into a practitioner who was using a therapy called acutonics. It's a style of therapy, and they use tuning forks, much like acupuncturists use the needles and the meridian pathways. This practitioner was utilizing acupressure points along those same meridians. So it seemed akin to like an acupuncture treatment, but just no needles. But the effects I felt were so profound, lasting days. I had a buzzing sensation in my body, and I was just like, what is going on with this? This is amazing. And I was calm and clear, and everything was just a little brighter and just better. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah.
So I had to do some research and figure out like, what is that we were doing that led me to this system. And I want you to hold right where my fingertips are right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so you'll go ahead and hold it and grab it.
vibrating.
Yeah, it's vibing.
Okay.
And then if it stops, we'll strike it again.
Okay.
So with this one, all of the action's coming out through the stem, so it's more pointed. Like this is diffused throughout. I feel like for me and my intention with using forks, if I really want to get someone, let's say they're in an elevated state and we want to just bring the calm down, there's a couple acupressure points on the body that you can access even with your fingers. And so I might use this to start, just to kind of help bring the heart rate down, get them to kind of drop in a little bit more into the space and into the surrounding, and bring it in as like a balancing tool.
Okay.
Okay, so we would use this as a striker.
Okay.
And so like we would hit the bowl with this striker, we're going to actually strike the edge of this gold piece onto this. And the goal is to keep your fingers, so you develop quite a strength in these two fingers when you're working with these, because if you touch the sides, it stops the vibration and stops the sound. So the less you can touch, the better, but you still have to touch it to hold it. So, and you just strike it and hit it. You can hit it hard. I'm just going to hold this so it didn't move.
Okay.
Okay, is it vibrating?
Yeah.
Okay, and you might even, and it's always fun to try placements with hands too. You know, however you want to strike it again, but just getting it to, now hold it up to your ear.
Now it stopped. That stopped
it stopped it? Okay, so we're holding it too hard. It's okay. It means that we just need more practice more.
Okay. I was like, is that saying something about my energy?
No. Okay, so just, this one's a little trickier because it's like smaller to work with. So if you strike it, okay, strike yours.
Okay, there it goes.
Hold it up to your ear. Try not to touch your hair, because your hair will stop this. So it's like keeping it free of anything, but just where you can hear it.
I hear it.
Okay, can you hear it? This is C, which is C sharp. So it's a balancing note. It actually is the sound that Earth makes when it's rotating. Wow. So it's like our home sound, kind of like our home beacon, which is, I think, why it's so soothing to most people when you play that note. So you
can do this and place it on someone's body,
so this is something you could actually work with on yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
my gosh.
This is a great point right here.
I want some of these now.
Yeah,
okay,
so striking it and putting it right between your fingers, right here, that webbing right there. It's good for anxiety, headaches, stimulating energy. It can also calm energy.
I feel that all through, like up to my bicep.
Oh yeah, it goes all the way up. And so also feet. You know, if you want to work on feet, there's good pressure points on the feet.
I won't put your forks on my feet.
Okay, that's all right.
Not today.
Not today.
Oh my gosh, this is so interesting. Yeah. Thank you so much. I have never actually really used these on my body.
Yeah.
So I like that. I've always seen the other ones where people are kind of like moving the tuning forks.
There's a lot of different ones out on the market too. This is a particular system. So Accutonic Systems has these color-coded and tuning forks, and there's different sizes for different intentions that you're using to work with. There's also tuning forks that don't have these weights on them.
Okay.
And so those are used for just listening, bringing that sound into the ears. You wouldn't want to put them on directly on the body because they don't have anything like really diffusing it, so it can be too much for the body. So it's better just to listen to and kind of bring balance to the brain.
I mean, are these like, can you get these on Amazon? Can I add them to my Amazon wish list?
You cannot do Amazon, but you can check out Accutonics and you can order from there. They are all made in the U.S., so everything here is, made in the United States.
Okay,
which is
really
pretty
cool. And tell people how to find you, because you're in the Dallas area.
I am in the Dallas area. My office is off of Walnut Hill and 75. Okay. And best way to reach me, because I'm still working on like websites and getting all of that out, would be email, which is sarah@soundandbalance.com. And you can also find me on Instagram at Sound and Balance. So send me a message through there. Reach out and contact email or Instagram would be great.
It'll be worth it. I feel like I'm still vibrating.
Yeah, you are. I know.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Really
Thanks so
appreciate this.
me.
I could talk to you about this forever.
I could talk about it forever. So if you want to have me back, talk about other things, I'm in.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, great.
And maybe we'll put the bowls on me next time.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Do
That
like
sounds
a full
great.
session.
I like that.
Thank you. I think this would be so helpful for people who've never tried it, maybe even never heard of it, to give it a shot.
Awesome. Introduce them to something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you for your time today. If you have any comments, questions, please go ahead and add them. Like, share, and subscribe. That always helps us. Really appreciate it. I'm Sonia Azad. We'll see you next time on The Shift.
This podcast is sponsored by our friends at the Vineyard at Florence. Inspired from a trip to Tuscany, the Vineyard at Florence was born, establishing a beautiful destination of authentic Italian pastoral culture, creating fine wines within a unique resort in the world-renowned Texas Hill Country. Nestled in 600 scenic acres, just a short drive north of Austin, the Vineyard at Florence is ideally placed to experience your wanderlust. For more than a decade, they've toasted happily ever afters, created spaces for businesses to collaborate, and celebrated life's milestones. Their catering and events team can't wait to plan your next social or corporate event. And don't forget about our friends at Glam House Collective. Let's get glam.